Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to draw a dragon. And the dragon that I'm going to show you how to draw is more or less a Chinese dragon. They're a little bit easier to draw. They're fun to draw, and I hope you enjoy it. So I'm going to start with my paper the long way rather than the tall way. And I'm going to start my dragon's body about right here. I want to leave room for the head on that side. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use a pencil because there's some spots that you're going to want to erase, so definitely use a pencil, is I'm going to draw the back of the dragon. I'm going to draw one lump, two lumps, and then with this one, I'm going to come up like that. This is going to be the tail. Then I'm going to copy that line more or less here. So I'm going to follow that same line, making the bottom side of the dragon. When I get here, I'm going to loop up to complete the tail. So at first you're going to notice that this dragon is very serpent-like. It's very snake-like. And then as we start to add the legs and the face, of course, and the scales and the spikes, it begins to look a lot more like a Chinese dragon rather than a serpent. So bear with me. So here on the head, to begin the head, we'll start there. I'm going to have you make an upside down U, and do that kind of lightly because we are going to end up erasing a little bit of this. So we just want to get that general shape and placement. Now what I want you to do is I'm going to have you go a little bit on an angle here, and we're going to come out here, and we're going to make a V shape. So here's our rainbow arc here, angled in a little bit here, straight line, V. Then I'm going to make another V here, and that's going to be the opening of the mouth. Rainbow arc, small angled line down, straight out, V, V for the inside of the mouth, straight line down and up. That's going to be like a side view of the dragon. So here I'm going to put the eye. And for my eye, I'm going to do a bit of a curve, and then I'm going to draw a triangle here. Just because it's a really cool dragon eye shape. And then for the pupil, I'm going to make a long and tall pupil. This guy looks a little bit happy, and that's okay. Over here, I'm just going to add a little line like this. It's a little triangle. And then that's going to give the illusion that there's another eye on the other side of that dragon's face. Okay, so one eye and then that other eye that you can't see the whole thing. Here, I'm going to add an upside down U that's going to act as the nostril on that side. And then over here, I'm going to draw one as well. And those are just upside down U's. So one is right on the line over here, and the other one's on this line. You could make a little darkened area on this side to make it look like it's a nostril and a hole that goes in. Okay. You could make some teeth. And now it looks very much like a snake. I think we can all agree it looks very much like a snake. So we need to change the part of the head here to add some horns and some spikes to get it looking more like a dragon and less like a snake. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to start here, and we're going to make like a letter M. So we're going to go up, we're going to come down. I'm going to loop this a little bit, and then we're going to come up over here. And have fun with these. You can let them be kind of flowy and curved. But basically, if you think about it, it's like a letter M, like an uppercase M. Boom, 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 boom. Now here's where we want to do some of that erasing. But that curve you made can be a nice placement for some more spikes. some here. You can do a couple layers of spikes if you want. And as you can notice, those are just the letter V. Okay? You can keep going with that. Add some detail, like lines on there. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to come back over here and I want to work on some legs. I'm treating this as a real beginner dragon because dragons can be a little tricky to draw. So I'm going to use some really simple shapes. If you want to draw a more complicated dragon, I'm going to share a website with you at the end of this that you can use to find a more complicated dragon. But this is a really good place to start when you're just thinking about what does that actually look like to draw a dragon. So I'm going to really break it down to some more simple forms. So on this first bump, we're going to draw some legs. So what I want you to do is I want you to draw 2 straight lines, but you'll notice that they're a little further apart here than they are here. So I've drawn them kind of far apart here, and then I've tapered them in here. And for the foot, the claw, I'm going to have you do a modified zigzag line. So we all know a zigzag line is up, down, up, down, up, down. So we're going to do that same sort of feeling of a zigzag line to make some claws. And here we go. We're going to go out and in, out and in. I'm never lifting my pencil, out and in. And for this one, I'm going to turn my pencil so that my last one can be there. Then I'm going to do the same over here. But this one I started on top of the body. This one I'm going to start right on the body, and I'm going to make this one a little shorter to make it appear that it's sitting back. So 1 line, 2 line, and let's do that zigzag again. Out and in, out and in, out and in, out and in. Okay, we have to erase 1 line here, and that's this line. The reason we have to erase this line is because we want it to look like this leg is in front of the body and coming from this side of the body, and this leg is coming from the other side. You could add little crescent claw nails on the end of these if you'd like, just to make it look a little bit more ferocious. You could leave it as is if you wanted to. It's really up to you. I'm going to curve this one the other way. I don't like the way that looks. And now we have to do another set down here on this bump here. So watch me again. So we're going to go on top of the line, 1, 2, and then we're going to do that zigzag. 1, 2, 3, 4. This looks like it's kind of spread out. And then 1 behind. 2 lines down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, this is a great place to start. I've seen some dragon drawings that you kids have shown me in your sketchbooks. You're experts. So certainly draw one from your imagination or one you've practiced, or you could go on your computer or to maybe a book you have and find some others. I think this one is really fun because he's so long and skinny. And I like how we build on him with all the different parts. Okay. So we've got this head, we're beginning some detail. We have this nice serpent-like body, some legs. Now what I want to do is I want to add what sort of is going to look like the underbelly or the underside of the dragon. So I'm going to start about right here, and I'm going to follow my line. And I think I'm going to stop about right there. I'm going to also add, and those of you that did the column lesson, this will make sense. See how I'm curving these lines slightly as I move around? That's going to help give the illusion of this curvy, serpenty dragon body. And that also acts then like it's part of the belly. Now what I want to do here is I want to fill this with scales. So I'm going to do some, well, hey, you know what? I'm going to put a couple more spikes here. But then here, I'm gonna start to make my scales. And what I'm gonna do is make repeated U's. And I'm gonna keep these pretty small. This is gonna take me some time, but I really feel like it's gonna be worth it and it's gonna look awesome. So it's a rainbow arc or an upside down U next to an upside down, upside down U next to an upside down U, and you just keep repeating that pattern. I will continue to draw this in a moment, but I want to show you a couple other things. You can also take and continue this spiked idea all the way around the outside of your dragon. I'm going to also continue that all the way around. I'm not going to put any spikes on the belly, but I will put some spikes here. And again, I'll show you that part in a moment. The last thing I want to show you how to draw before I go in and fill in all my details is a flame, in case you want to make your dragon a fire-breathing dragon. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you draw some lines coming out of the mouth. So the line I want you to draw coming out of the mouth, at first you could just make a little straight line. And you're going to take your line and move it to the left. Then I'm going to start at the same part and I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it to the right. It almost looks like the top of a Hershey's Kiss to me. These do not need to be the same length. They could be different. At each of these ends, I want you to draw an upside down U. We have a lot of these upside down U's in this drawing, and an upside down U here. And again, they can be different shapes, or not different shapes, but different like sized upside down U's, but you're gonna put one here and one there. And then what we need to do is we need to stretch this up a little bit, but I'm gonna go back out and I'm gonna repeat this same shape. Remember, this one went like this, upside down U. Now I'm gonna do it again. See that? Starting to form. So this one I'm gonna go out. This one I'm gonna go way up. Upside down U. And then this time I'm going to join these at the peak of the flame. And then I can add some flame lines. This would be really cool to color in with all those warm colors, wouldn't it? Okay, so I've got my head shape, I've got my fire, I've begun to draw my my scales and my spikes. I'm gonna finish with all of these things and add a couple extra details, and then we'll come back together and I'll talk to you about what I've done. Okay, so this is what I've come up with so far. I think I'm gonna keep going with some shading. I shaded this part in. I'd started to draw some spikes, didn't like it and erased it, and then went to the shading. So I think I'm gonna keep working on this because I'm having a really good time with it. It's not something I usually draw. I will include some other links for you on your lesson page of some other drawing tutorials for dragons if you wanted to try a different style of dragon, or you could combine some of them together. Whatever you think, give it a try. Do this one, do a couple, whatever you think you'd like to try would be great with me, and I would be really happy to see what you come up with. I'm having fun with this, and I hope you do too. Thanks, everybody. Can't wait to see what you do.